the video gaming industry. The one industry and one hobby that at a time in our history was once renowned to promote and encourage any and all with any sort of broad imagination to step forth. Show us the worlds that's locked in your minds. Let us see what type of games that create these worlds of all sorts of genres. All these games that we love and adore. That is once what the gaming industry was. We encourage new minds, we encourage new players and imagination to push forward the video gaming industry to brand new heights, to brand new sights. And it has now come into question, is the video gaming industry sustainable for you? Let's take a closer look into this. So the gaming industry on occasion would have sad and upsetting moments like what we're about to discuss today will happen throughout a calendar year within the video gaming industry, and it's becoming more and more current than ever before. Over the years, it was very far and few between when we had to report in that a studio would have to lay off the majority of the employees, followed by closing its doors after a certain amount of time. So the gaming community and the gaming industry have received news through wires that 4 studios are now scheduled to perform layoffs, if they haven't already performed their layoffs, and will be scheduling to close and shut down their studio within the next 30 to 60 days. Such studios as WB owns Monolith Productions, WB owns Player First Games, and WB Games San Diego. Now, along with those 3, we've also received word of Ballistic Moon, independent studio, makers of the Until Dawn remake series that had just released their very first game, will now be laying off their staff and shutting down their studio within the next quarter. Backlash is definitely running rampant everywhere throughout the entire internet and social media. To help dampen the noise, WB had released this official statement, which I quote, "We have had to make very difficult decisions to structure our development studios and investments around building the best games possible with our key franchises, that's Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, DC, and Game of Thrones. After careful consideration, we are closing 3 of our development studios, Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and Warner Brothers Games San Diego. This is a strategic change in direction and not a reflection of our teams or the talent that consists within them." With this statement being brought out into social media, it shouldn't come without a certain sense of remorse from not only their upper management, but maybe also from us gamers too. If we weren't exactly there for these titles, we might all be kind of at fault here. But this doesn't help with the fact that the future installments of the games that we once loved and adored will no longer be supported by WB, and more likely will not be sold off to other subsidiaries or other software developers to continue making these franchises that we love. When one door closes, another one opens, hopefully for these developers, wherever they are, wherever they reside to. Now, Player First Games, a studio that was based out of Los Angeles, California, they were contracted by WB Games to develop multiverses for the PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and the PC. Basically, their direct answer to Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. I checked the Metacritic score, and multiverses sit at a score of 75 Metacritic between all major platforms. That's PS5, PC, and Xbox. Now, to my understanding, this game also didn't really sell all that well. It wasn't very well received by the public. It wasn't very well supported. It was once discontinued, then brought back from the dead, and then it got canceled yet again. Now, researching into the history of this studio, they were established back in 2019, and WB Games pursued to acquire them in 2024, July of 2024. Once the dust has settled, they continued working on Multiverses until it was eventually closed down in the fall of 2024. And now WB has sadly decided to release this studio and lay off the majority of this staff. WB Games San Diego. I had kind of a difficult time researching what games they've ever done. Now, they were established back in 2019, so they probably didn't release much at all, if anything at all. I looked into their repertoire, and what they were mostly focusing on developing were mobile games and free-to-play software. Now, they were also assisting Monolith with the development of Wonder Woman. Now, they haven't released anything from being established back in 2019, so they were fresh right from the factory before their untimely closure. They were working on Wonder Woman, and they were also working on an unannounced AAA free-to-play game, which we have no idea what genre that game was going to be. WB San Diego may have also in the past assisted with development of other key titles, but I'm not entirely sure what titles that would be. And then we have Ballistic Moon. This newly founded studio back in 2019, they only had worked on one game before their studio closure. That was the Until Dawn remake for the PS5 and the PC. Not too much is known about this remake. It's just a straightforward remake from the original developers, Supermassive Games, for their original title for Until Dawn back in 2015. Sony made a decision to contract this studio to take the original game that was built in Unreal Engine 4 and updated through Unreal Engine 5 with new tweaks, new graphic effects, better lighting, hopefully better resolution. I'm not entirely sure what resolution this game is running at. And hopefully a better frame rate, but not too much support was given towards this game during its release. A lot of us have already played this game. I myself have played through Until Dawn back on the PS4. So the fact that they re-released this game at full price and no sequel for this game, well, I guess the players had spoke with their wallet and decided that it was not worth their time to revisit this game. It's also not really worth me buying this game at full price for a game I've already finished and more likely will not play again unless it had DLCs attached to it. That should have been a thing. Unfortunately, Ballistic Moon, we didn't get a chance to really see you guys shine like we expected you to. Ballistic Moon did not receive a chance to make an original IP for themselves to pave their own way into a new IP to call their own. This remake of Until Dawn pretty much sealed their fate before we ever had a chance to truly know the brilliant minds and talent behind Ballistic Moon. You will be missed, and we hope that you come back to us in any way, shape, or form through other teams and through other studios. It breaks my heart. It truly breaks my heart to have to talk about Monolith Productions. One of my favorite companies from back in the 360 days. Such titles as Fear 1, Fear 2, and Fear 3 also developed Condemned Criminal Origins. Fast forward to Xbox One, we have Middle-earth's Shadow of Mordor, and then Middle-earth's Shadow of War. These titles, especially both Middle-earth games, these games were very beloved. I mean, Monolith has a staple of games that they could stand behind to be very proud of. And last game they announced that they were working on was WB's Wonder Woman. God knows what that game actually turned out to be behind closed doors. We never actually seen actual footage or gameplay of this game. And now that we hear that it's canceled, I'd really like to see what this game would have been like. Could this game have been like another Batman Arkham series, only with Wonder Woman? I mean, if that game would have been a success, there would have been a great chance that the follow-up game could have been a Flash game, could have been a Superman game. I think I would have been more excited to do a Flash game. I think that'd be very fun, very close to a Spider-Man. But yeah, now we'll never know. Now We'll never know what could have, would have, should have with Wonder Woman and the minds behind Monolith Productions. This comes with a very heavy heart to see them having to close their doors and to relinquish all their talent. God knows where they'll go to. If they'll stay in the gaming industry, who knows where they'll go. But things will never be the same. For WB, God forbid anything was to actually happen with Rocksteady. These AAA games, the budgets for these games, obviously they're just getting out of control. Us as customers that see this happen, when the chips fall and it's way too late to change things, then that's when we come thinking, maybe I should have been there. Maybe I should have been there for these people and purchased their title no matter what. Maybe. We may never see a Wonder Woman game. Ever. And Wonder Woman may never ever get a game due to this closure. It's the sad truth. But there's nothing more that we can do. There's nothing more that can be said for their final decision. And I'm sure a lot of us are thinking we could have done more. I would like to be very clear and transparent on the nature of this video. This video is not in any way, shape, or form a vocal weapon or ammo towards console warring. I've been observing and I understand the desire and the appeal to get at each other with console warring, to fuel arguments and fights, to one-up each other. That is the nature of the world. A lot of people feel that one-upping an opponent, one-upping a colleague, makes them feel superior. That's what console warring in its purest form is all about. It gives one the sense of superiority over their peers, their enemies, their rivals. That's what console warring is all about. But this video is not about console warring at all. I cannot say that I am not guilty of this in the past. I'm man enough to actually admit that in the past, once upon a time, console warring for me was kind of fun, but I was much, much younger. I wasn't even an adult during my participation in console warring. I was literally a teenager. Beyond those times, beyond those years of console warring, I have learned to appreciate both ends of the spectrum. And once you actually take the time to enjoy these games and enjoy the creations of these worlds that these developers, these wonderful developers have brought to us, it will give you a sense of euphoria in more than one ways. I actually have a different perspective of the industry, having actually took part in it. So I myself have been part of the video gaming industry for over 23 years. I'm no longer in the industry any longer, but I was in the video gaming industry for 23 consecutive years, off and on. There was a few hiccups here and there, but I was in the gaming industry, and it is the industry that I still love and adore, even from afar. I'm here to help celebrate the memory of what they've given us as far as gaming entertainment. We're here to celebrate their work and to unfortunately wish them well on their future endeavors. The biggest risk to studio closures, in my opinion, is the risk that those individual talent will now be presented at a crossroads to choose: do I stay within the gaming industry, or are there greener pastures in another field? This is the one risk I feel that publishers don't really think about long term as to how these closures can affect their IPs on the long run if the talent is no longer there. If the talent moves on or the talent is let go, I feel that you're putting at risk the success and longevity of what your IPs could be or should be. When these people are let go and they collect themselves and they themselves individually decide, is the gaming industry still for me? Or should I move on from this industry and just enjoy gaming for what it was and what it can be in the future? through other hands that's out of my hands. Maybe I'm better off somewhere else. So as a gamer and a former supporter from inside this industry, my thoughts and my prayers go out to each and every one of those developers that were affected, get back on their feet, and decide to remain in this gaming industry, for we need as much talent to entertain us with as possible, where no one but God should be able to take this away from us. And with that being said, I'm Musical Weapon. Come back again. We'll do this again.